Welcome to a special Labor Day Run to Daylight podcast. I'm your host, Todd Burrows. I probably am also going to do a second one today, which will include a live draft. So if any of you want to jump in a live draft with me, keep an eye out for my feed. Um, what I'm going to cover today is what we're dealing with on Underdog in general and how it should change our basic philosophy. So, if you followed me for years, you guys know that I use a series of tiebreakers and I draft within tiers, and I don't normally jump a tier to do a strategy, right? Because I figure what I gain by doing a strategy, I lose by dropping a tier. So, morning, Jose. So that is one thing that I want to get across is drafting on these. And I do want to say that this is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. We're going to be going into the puppy and the breakdown of the puppy. I'm all in. It's going to be hard to get 150 in without doing a ton of slow ones for me. But right now, this is already 22% filled, and I'm at 20% full out of so 30 drafts out of 150 between slow and fast. And that was after doing a number yesterday. So I will do a number today, but I don't expect to be able to maximize this. But I do hope to get at least 100 puppies in. But we're going to do some math and we're going to show you why you need a different strategy. And then I'll go through what that strategy is. And then later in the second pod today, you'll get a chance to see me uh, do it. I also will, at the end of this draft, look at the draft board and I will, one of my draft boards, and we'll take it a look at what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and some thoughts on it. All right. So thank you to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. I am now going to go through some math for you. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. All right. So let's go over here. Let's make this easier for you guys to see. Hope I did all this right. So basically, it's a 4-round tournament, and round 1, round 2, there we go, round 3, and round 4. And the goal is to get to round 4. That's where the money is. So the last couple of years, I've always taken a great pride on my advance rate. Well, advance rate, I'm willing to give up some advance rate to move and make sure that I have a better chance of getting to round 4, and you'll understand why when I go through this. So round 1, let's say you're playing 150 teams, right? And round 1, 2 of 12 advance. So you take 150 teams equals 150, and let's say instead of a 16%, let's say you're really good. Let's say I think I'm really good, right? Last year I had a 30% advance rate. 130 times 150 times 0.3 is 45 teams. And these are the number of leagues and the number of teams. And basically, if you advance, you get a minimum of $7. So you go equals 45 times 7, $315. Well, I've invested $750. So if I crush round 1, I have guaranteed myself to lose more than half my money. Okay. So, but I've got 45 teams to advance. That's great. So let's say again, it's a 2 of 18 in round 2. Well, that's 11%. let's say again, I'm really good. I'm Todd Burrows. I am Mr. Best Ball. I've built great teams, and I'm going to advance 20% of my teams. Okay. Well, 45 times 0.2. Got to put in the equal sign, Todd. It's 9. I've got 9 teams through to round the next round. Now, I put $12 here, but there it goes from 8 to 12. So actually, let's cut it to 10. Let's say that's the average. I've added another $90. Okay. And I'm feeling good about life. I got 9 teams, but I've only made back 405 of $750. Okay. And I've only got 9 teams left. And it's a 1 in 18 chance. That's less than 1%. So let's say, and this is with me just crushing to get here, right? Crushing to get here. Well, what is this? Because 1 of 18, it doesn't matter how good Todd Burrows is. 1 of 18 is 1 of 18 at this point. So, and round 2, the reason you can get a good advance rate out of round 1 and round 2 is that a lot of teams are broken when they make it to the playoffs through injury. So your good roster construction that I teach you guys can help. But this round equals 9 times this. I have less than 1% chance of getting a team into the final. Okay? So, yeah. That's the reality. I've got less than 1% chance of getting into the big money and making up the difference here. So I hope I did that right. But the point is, guys, is that you need to have a more aggressive strategy. You have to be willing to take more risks. Well, and let me just double check that. Did I do that right? So those 9 teams, there's 18,000 playing, and the next round there's 207. Yeah, I did it right. The max you can get when you go over here to the payouts, 2071 to 3015, the max payouts you get is $12. I did do that right. So if that 0.15 is ends up being a 0, right? Well, then I've lost $345 after having a great season and advancing a very strong number. And it's worse if you just go by the numbers. So if you do 150 equals 150 times this is 25 teams equals this times this, you've got 3 teams equals this times this. So on average, you've got less than a 15% of 1%. 15% of 1% chance of getting a team in. That when you go into this tournament, that is your reality, right? You think you're better. I think I'm better. I've proven I'm better, but I'm going into the tournament with this chance of getting a team into round 4. Now, when you look at, you immediately go to, oh wait, I did, hold on. So 7 times, you can tell how great I am with math. 7, okay, so if these all got eliminated, right? And if these all got eliminated, and if they all got eliminated, if one makes it through, if you do get one through, no. Anyway, the odds are not great. I may have done that a little wrong. Well, there's 2,070 teams playing in this. Yeah, if you're all eliminated, that's it. That's all you get. All right. But if you get one through, I see what I did. So at the end of round one, so this is the 10. And I suck at math, guys. This is what I was hoping I wasn't going to do. But you get the point. It's a very, very small chance of getting through. Let's say this is 10 and this is 25. Okay. And you've got 9 times 25 equals 9 times 25. It's 225. And we had 40. So you're still short of making you're still short. All right, 675, 775. So what does that all mean? Those are the realities. What it means is we need to stack and we need to correlate every lineup. Okay. So my new best friend, this was done by the guy who won the, I'm going to do my own, but this is just basically what I use. So this is week 15, week 16, week 17. Well, week 15, I'm not as worried about. I don't, I have to count that, like I said, a lot of teams are going to be broken after the 14 weeks. There's going to be a lot of teams that got off to good starts, advanced, that are broken, bad teams with bad roster construction. So I think you have to focus on week 16 and week 17 with a heavy focus on week 17 and some focus on week 16. So let me take you to a draft that I just did and what I'm willing to do it. All right, so let's go to completed. 22 NFL season, the puppy. All right, so let's take this one that I did the other day. View full draft, view draft board. All right. So what I do, and of course, this is hard to see on the computer, as I've mentioned before. So Cooper Kupp's my first round pick. So my number one priority with Cooper Kupp is seeing if I can stack him with Matthew Stafford. I don't have to do that, but it is the first thought that goes through your mind. The second thought that goes through your mind is, who do they play in week 17? Well, it's the Chargers. Is that a good game? It's a fabulous game. Okay. So I'm looking to add Chargers now to my Cooper Kupp. That being said, round 2, there was no, I could have reached, but I knew that I could get, because Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both go in this range. I knew I could get one of them in the 3rd. You don't want to go ridiculous and just jump 2 tiers for correlation if you don't have to, right? So Cooper Kupp. And then the other thing I immediately check is, who do they play week 16? Because so this is 1 to 14. This is week. Let's say 14, 15, 16, 17. All right. So those are your weeks, right? So the other thing I want to look at is, who do they play week 16? It's a one of 18. So here I've got an 11% chance. So I'm less likely to feel the need to really tweak my lineups. Besides them being broken, a lot of broken teams, I feel like, again, my good roster construction, and 11% isn't bad. I've got a pretty good chance of getting one team out of, I should get one team out of every 10 that I get advance, and hopefully I get 2 or 3. All right. But week 16 is 1 of 18, right? you only have 0.5%. And that's the week that gets you to the money, where if you're one of the last 115 teams in this tournament, the minimum you'll make is $300. Well, if you add 300 to what we've talked about before, now you've broken even. So the goal is to really also focus on week 16 and week 17, and that's why I do it. So the next thing I am going to look at, let's go back to my draft, Cooper Kupp. So now I also want to have in the back of my mind that I want to be on the lookout for Colts, but I also want to be on the lookout for Broncos. Why? Well, because I'm going to be looking to add Rams. So then I'll want a second. Think of it as a family trade. I'll also be looking for Broncos. Now, I have a lot of Javonte Williams, but I wanted to add a Lenny share. So you don't completely throw out, again, you got to consider your other factors, your overall exposure, what you're trying to do with this team, and a few other things. So I added Leonard Fournette second, and that got me into Tampa Bay, which means I'm on the lookout for Panthers especially, but it also opens up the Cardinals for me. Round 3, I took Keenan Allen. We've already covered that. And round 4, that's when I got my Bronco. So now, even though I don't have a Ram yet, I've got a Bronco. Now, my plan was to get Allen Robinson. Sometimes it doesn't work, right? Sometimes it doesn't work. Allen Robinson went earlier right before me, one pick before me. So I went David Montgomery. Why? Because I really like this Detroit-Chicago game in week 17. And that's another one of my backstops. So I'm throwing a lot of thoughts in, but now I get Russell Wilson. So now the lineup has changed. I'm still looking for a Cooper Kupp correlation, but now I've got a Denver correlation with Judy and Russell Wilson, which is another great game and opens up the Chiefs. And the Chiefs open up the Seahawks. So it gives you an idea of how we do this. Well, I've added David Montgomery. So now I've got that Hawkinson, David Montgomery. I added Goddard here because Stafford, this guy snagged me again. He got me on Allen Robinson and he got me on Matthew Stafford. There was no one else I liked. So one of my other strategies is to go 2 early quarterbacks a lot and 2 early tight ends a lot. Then I did get my Chiefs. So now I've got a main stack with Wilson and Judy. I've got the Chiefs. I've got a backup stack for week 16 of Denver and the Rams. All right. So now the Rams become my secondary stack. And that's where I'm trying to win week 16 to get to week 17 where my Chiefs thing can work. I had Penny. Remember I mentioned it opened up Seattle? I love Penny. Opened up Seattle. Patrick. Now I've got 2 people with Russ. Nobody good here. So I took Jarvis Landry. You quickly look. I had an Eagle. That's what that was. So now I've correlated week 17 again with a sub stack, a third stack of New Orleans and the Eagles, which could be a good game. I had another Lion with Shark to go with that Montgomery. And you see that I just keep losing out on Rams. All right, it's not ideal, but it's what happened. Jets, well, guess who Corey Davis and the Jets play week 17? The Seahawks. So now I have another stack in the final week with Rashad Penny and Corey Davis. And meanwhile, all the while, I'm giving up value, but I'm not, it's not gross. Corey Davis in the 4th, DJ Shark, I reached a little, but 13th round, Jarvis Landry was fine in the 12th, Tim Patrick in the 11th, Penny in the 10th. These are all slight reaches. Now, in a normal best ball or in an FFPC best ball, where my odds are much better of advancing, I'm much less likely to reach to correlate. But in this, where I really need each team, if it gets to week 16, to have a plan for week 16 and week 17. All right. Now, Corey Davis. Now, I need a second quarterback. Is Jared Goff my favorite quarterback? No. But I had started plan and I reached for him. He's a different buy than Wilson. It's not ideal. But now I have a secondary week 17 stack of 2 Lions with 1 Bear. Foreman, one of my favorite running backs, and I really kind of got a little weak at running back here. We're going to look at my team in a minute. Donovan Peoples-Jones is just a value pick in the 17th, and Derek Gore is just a dart throw. I needed another running back. So let's go back to my team. We'll do that. Let's look at my full team. So 2-5-9-2, Wilson and Goff, a little weak at second quarterback, but heavily stacked and loaded. I'm counting on Denver for the most part. I do think Detroit's going to improve this year. They got a lot of weapons. If you look at Swift in the second, Hawkinson in like the 7th, Shark and Jameson Williams, Goff being one of the last quarterbacks taken is kind of a bias against him. Running back, I've got 2 strong ones, a good third, and I'm weak at the other 2. So that's the weakness of this team. If I could go back, I would have, and we'll look at it in a minute, but I would have, I might have gotten a little crazy in doing this. And, maybe Shark, where I took Shark or Corey Davis instead of those correlations. And that's what happens when you have 2 early tight ends earlier, 1 early quarterback. So I need a little luck at running back on this team. But if I get it, if McCaffrey goes down, that eliminates a lot of McCaffrey teams in the playoffs, and then I've got D'Onta Foreman. But hindsight is 2020, but I do want to go back and look at who I could have gotten so that I can improve, because I make mistakes too. All right. So DJ Shark in the 13th, I think I would have taken Henderson. I think that's what it was. I think I got sniped again. But you could say that I should have taken Michael Carter as a 4th running back instead of Jarvis Landry. That's the mistake. So keep an eye on your overall strength of position groups. And that's that. So let's go back. All right. I think that's going to cover it. Talked about why I'm doing what I'm doing, how I'm doing what I'm doing. I gave you guys an example of what I'm doing. Keep an eye out for my feed today. I'm going to do at least 1 live draft podcast doing a puppy, and you guys can actually see me doing 1 live. And then what I'll do is also I will do another one not live where I don't invite people, and you guys, in fact, I'll do that one first, post it, and then we'll do one together. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching.